Welcome live on the Shift Live this morning. And we have an incredible special guest today joining us. My name is Hannah Leta. I am your host. I am a leadership and executive health coach. I love life. I am passionate about health, and I love doing different and doing things that disrupt the status quo, especially around women, because I believe this is our time, to show up. This is our time to come to the table. When you look back at the way our grandparents, great parents, our parents, they pushed to the back burner. So this is the time for us to come to the table and rewrite the rules, the rules of leadership, the rules of doing business, the rules of parenting and motherhood, and the way we can bring change into the world. So this is why I'm so passionate, about women development and bringing women to the table. So today I bring here in the studio a special a special woman. You will get to know her, better as I introduce her. Thembisile is an entrepreneur, a mentor, and a humanitarian. She is a seasoned retired banker. She spent her 30 years, in the banking industry. She holds a BA, a degree in a BA degree, an MBA, a diploma in banking, and a diploma in ministry leadership. But that's not why she is here. I just wanted to give you the background about the woman in the house. She is here, because about 3 years ago in 2017, she found herself at Crossroads, and she sought out for help. She decided that no, I don't want to spend the remaining years of my life at Crossroads, not knowing where to put my foot. And she reached out accidentally. She came across coaching, and that is what we want her to come and share with us about, because it has been a journey that she has actually traveled. Thembi, welcome to the live show.
Thank you very much, Coach, and good morning, Game Changers, and good morning to all those who are watching today.
Okay, and I'm doing this from my place in Block 9, Kabuna. Where are you calling from, Thembi?
I'm calling from Havron West Phase 1. Yes, that's where I am. Thank you.
Great. I love how technology has really breached, the distance gap, and just also even killed the excuse gap of I don't have time, I'm not there, I can't travel there. So all you need is to plug into your device, connect to the internet, and you are connected to the whole world. So thank you. Let's jump into the interview, Thembi. I met you for the first time in 2017. And what were you looking for, really? What brought you into the naming box?
Thank you, Coach. In 2017, and in fact, I think it must have been prior to that, because I had heard of a coach, but I couldn't connect on that year. But then, what really made me to search for somebody to help me was the fact that I felt that I have worked, I have done everything, but there is something within me that says there's still more to life than what I have already done or what I think I have done. So that was the reason why it was that inner yearning that wanted me to look for something that will address me as an individual rather than the issues of corporate work, the issues of family, and the issues of extended family. So that's why I searched for somebody to help me.
Okay. So how many years have you been retired by then? Can you remember when did you formally retire from the banking industry?
Yes, I formally retired in 2004. So that
So
must
it
have
is
been 13 years, yes.
okay. So it has been quite a while, and you felt like without a job, you couldn't really find your bearings properly. Isn't that
Yes.
interesting? Most of the time, the job creates a container for us. It creates a program that we just fall into. You know, Monday you're going to work, Tuesday you're going to work, and given what to do. So when you retire, all of a sudden you find yourself with this huge amount of time and space that you don't even know how to utilize if you had not really planned for it. Okay, so what was the first step that you took, Thembi?
The first step
Intentional step towards really finding how you could start utilizing your time better after you had actually quit formal employment.
The thing that I did when I started the business that I'm in at the moment, but still I felt empty. I still felt that there's still more that I needed to do. So when I finally came to search for the help that I searched for, I actually I heard from somebody saying there was a coach that she met at UB. She was doing some coaching, and she was saying to me, you know, this person, when we sat there and she asked us what do we actually know ourselves, and we realized that we didn't know ourselves. So she gave me a link that, I mean, not a site that she said I should visit. I visited that site, but I couldn't access it. I think it was the issues of not being very conversant with technology. So after that, I looked, I think it was saying John Maxwell accredited coach. And somewhere I got a bit discouraged. I said, she's talking about American coach, because I had seen something about John Maxwell somewhere. So I just gave up and I said, no, I wouldn't be able to follow. In fact, I can't even open her site. So I left it at that. And it so also happened that, you know, when we are looking for something, there's nothing that can stop you. I continued to search. And then one time the same told me that, no, this time she's going to be doing some training at in Gaborone. So I said, no, this time I really need to do something about it. And I think this time I was also given a phone number to call. So I called that number. I didn't even know what coaching she was going to do. But I just told myself, I just have to go there, and I will hear when I get there, and just what it is that, whether she can help me or she cannot help me. So that's how I got into the coaching.
Okay. Yeah, I think the first thing that you did was actually a vision board workshop. So that's what took you to the vision board workshop. What was your impression? I really, because of the age gap, I'm normally, interested when people your age get into my space, and into my work. So what was your first impression there at the vision board workshop?
My first impression at the vision board workshop was you know, when I looked around to see the formally dressed coach, I didn't actually see that formally dressed coach, and I looked around to see somebody who is older, but I found that, you know, there was nobody who was older, and in fact, when I looked around the room, I felt a bit uncomfortable that, you know, I don't know what I've let myself into. Everybody was looking casual. I think I must have gone there putting on a two-piece, but everybody was looking casual. I could not immediately identify who is the coach. But of course, as you know, the vision board workshop started, then I realized who the coach is. You know, looking young as she is, and also, you know, just casually dressed. And the scene as it started, it made me feel, originally when I considered the age, I felt uncomfortable. But as the thought started, I then realized that no, in fact, there isn't much of a difference in terms of the people that I'm with here, because as we started doing the exercises, I realized everybody did not know who they are. So it made me feel a bit comfortable that I'm in the same, as far as that is concerned, we're all at the same level.
So really at that time, age was not important. It was not a factor there.
Well, inwardly, I did feel that these people are young. They are younger than me. But then I think it was the way that you made everybody feel comfortable, because one starting point was that you were saying there is no Mrs. here, there is no Mahot Mang Mang. We are all on first name basis, and I think that just strike me, because I have gone through trainings where you actually put them who you are Mrs. So and so, and what position you are, and that you just discounted it from the beginning. You are saying, I don't even want you, when you introduce yourself, I don't want you to tell me what you have done, but I want you to introduce yourself as to who you are. That made me feel comfortable.
Wow, thank you very much. Yeah, I really love to do that, because I've realized that most people struggle with identity issues. We kind of know how to separate the hats that we wear at work and at home, but really we are who we are at core. Without all these hats and all these. So I always like to orient, my clients to start looking at their lives from that perspective, so that even if the job goes away, they don't lose themselves, through that. So yeah, thank you very much for that. And then can you tell me really what do you think you wanted to do? Because when I look back, I think I passed by your vision board by that time, because I know that normally people who are older, they become uncomfortable. So I try as much as possible to make them, feel at ease. And I was kind of hooked by what you put on your vision board, and I questioned you about it. So can you just tell us what was going on in your mind at that time, and what you thought you really wanted to bring forth into this world?
What was actually going on in my mind at that time? It was an aspect of feeling okay. When I went to the vision board workshop, of course, I didn't know what I was looking for. But then, as the coaching went on, and you indicated what we have to bring out within ourselves. I then felt that I needed more to be of help to people, to do, to make a difference in other people's lives. But then there was also something that was going on in my mind, that was to help my own family, and that led me to the aspect of thinking that to do that I needed to do, as part of my own helping, I have to put up I have to put up a rehabilitation center. And I remember that when you passed by and you asked me what it was that I really wanted, and I said I wanted to put a rehabilitation center. I was actually a bit surprised by the fact that you just passed by and didn't make much of a comment. And I remained asking myself whether I was actually in the right track or not. But then also, I think at the end of the coaching, I then approached you and tried to babble a bit about the rehabilitation center. And you just said, I know people who have tried to put up a rehabilitation center, and that was that. And it did say to me, there's something that is not right with what I actually want. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I think that is the beauty about coaching is even if you realize that your client wants something that is not from them, you can't tell them you don't do that. That's one of the rules of coaching. We don't tell in coaching. We ask questions so that the client can get their own truth through that process. So for me, I just at it and observe that okay, she wanted to set up a rehabilitation center, but in my mind I was wondering really what was really going on that has prompted her to want to do that, because normally it's the why, that's what you want to do. So did you end up doing that? How far did you go with the rehabilitation center?
It actually didn't see any light of day after that vision board workshop, because the thing is, when even from within myself, when I began to understand and search, my inner self, my core, it actually became very clear that it wasn't actually the vision, it wasn't actually the rehabilitation center, but it was because I thought I wanted to solve problems that I was facing, and also solve problems of other people who are facing similar problems like me. But then in actual fact, it just didn't seem to resonate with who I am once I began to realize who I really was. Because I remember that in the meditation that we did in the vision board workshop, uh, that rehabilitation center didn't actually come out as something that I would say it's me wanting to do something that is coming from within me. So it was something completely different, which because of the issue which I was in, I thought, I have to solve immediate problem that I was facing.
Interesting. How most of the time we think we want to do something, but it's not coming from within us. We are trying to maybe influence a cause that sometimes we are not even capable of actually influencing. So okay, you didn't end up doing that, but with the awareness that you got, what did you get from that experience?
With the awareness that I got, because what was actually coming out, even when we were doing the meditation, it was more on helping people, because I remember that it actually brought back the meditation actually brought back what I used to do when I was growing up, helping people, and then trying to make a difference in other people's lives. I then that's what seemed to have been, that's what came out. Even when I was now thinking of the rehabilitation, I realized that it's not something that it's really coming from deep down within me. It's something that I'm trying to do just because. So what I actually did was that I then began to do, counseling, understanding that I can help people without going into building a rehabilitation center. So I started, counseling people, helping people who have got problems, and I found that that was actually giving me more satisfaction, more direction in what I wanted to do. I found that as I started doing that, I found people that people, when they were facing problems, they would then come to me and ask for help, whether it was in the workplace, that indeed even in the places where I was a board member, the staff members there would come and ask for help. what it is that they needed to do, especially on issues that were really personal to them. So I realized that the part that I need to do is to help people to make a difference in their own lives.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. But I think really one of the reasons that took you out to go and seek for help was more about, was even more about you not feeling your inner self. It was about you being able to 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 live well or happy with the people who were around you, you know,
Yes.
around you, because of the challenges that they were actually going through.
Mm.
So what role did you actually play in extending those circumstances that were at your home, if you may share about
Yes.
that?
Okay. I would say maybe I should start just here that what I was doing before the counseling was that I thought I could take a responsibility for the lives of the people that I lived with, and I thought I could try and help them or sort them out, so to speak, if I may say that. But then I realized that for many years, that's what I had been trying to do, to try and direct them that this is the route that they need to take. They need to take control of their lives. But after the coaching, what actually surprised me was that as I became aware that I have to take responsibility for my own life and not take responsibility for other people's lives, I found that, they then warmed up in trying to help themselves change their lives and take responsibility for their own life. And it became, far much better to try and now discuss issues, maybe of trying to see as to how they can take responsibility of their lives, rather than me trying to superimpose what I thought was the right thing for them to do, so that they can fit into the mold that I thought they needed to fit in. It became far much better, even up to the level at which, when we're now talking, they would then realize that, the behavior is not right. They needed changing. Because I can still remember that my husband, for instance, went for, attended your vision board workshop, and began to really be interested in the coaching program. And if I may say it, he actually, even in the house, tried to coach me when I do something that he feels that it doesn't align with the coaching that I've had. He would say, that is not what Hannah has told you to do. So it's now a way of life. Even when I'm listening to some of the programs, he also listens, and he will be saying, "You see, I listen what Hannah says." So it has really
Yeah. So what I'm getting is that you were a control freak. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I'm bringing that out, forthright as being a control freak, because I think this is the go-to, that when we feel desperate, about our loved ones and maybe not living the kind of life that we had envisioned for them, which is actually wrong, because everyone envisions that when we may just, wish that they could turn out that way, but we don't have control over that. So most of us, we want to enforce, the things that we want, and we want to force change. But you cannot force change, because change is within. Everyone needs to be willing to change. Otherwise, you cannot force it from the outside. Yes, I understand what you're talking about with your husband, because I actually saw him, the first time when you came with him to the vision board. I mean, that was the Live to Lead 2017. That was the first conference, yeah, that I hosted in Gaborone, when you came with your husband. And I just observed, and as a coach, you just observe and realize that, oh, this is this is really going on. But one thing that I actually admired about you at that time is that you had the courage to come along with your husband in the state that he was in to a conference, whereas most people are ashamed to go out in public, with their family members, if either they are sick or if they have an addiction issue, either alcohol or other drugs. But for you, you came with your husband. Can you maybe just share with us what gave you that, that courage to say, I'm gonna bring him along, exactly the same way that he is? Because for me, that was huge.
Yes, I had I had gained the confidence through the coaching, because as I did the vision board workshop, then I enrolled on the Ignite Your Spark. So I from those coaching sessions, I then realized that shame is not something that I have to continue to live by, because certain things that happens in our lives we don't have control over. So what gave me the confidence to bring him along was the aspect that I was interested in him, seeing the journey that I am on, hands on, without him always hearing me saying, if you do coaching, your life would improve. So I really want him to have that first-hand experience himself, so that he can get an interest of understanding as to what he needs to do about his life. Obviously, not to say he should join coaching, but also giving him certain nuggets that could help him in life, so that he can be able to change on his own, without me controlling him and without me telling him what he needed to do.
So what I hear you saying is that you move beyond the shame, you move beyond the shame that's been holding you back, of thinking that my family members, I've got family members who are not meeting up, to the standard that I think I want to portray, and realizing that, what, this is who they are, and I can support them without feeling the shame, without feeling the guilt, and then moving on, which is so powerful, because shame is actually what stops most of us on our tracks, when we are supposed to do things. I know that in life we struggle, we struggle between two things, the external world, what people are saying and everything else, and the internal. But the internal struggle is actually the hardest one to go through, because you giving yourself that information, giving yourself that instruction, that you are not worthy, these people are bringing you down. But you were able to just gradually bring him on, until he was at a position where he could also start seeing himself as a worthy person, and see himself differently, because he continued attending some of those things there. I normally share that you are my inspiration. I know you don't take me lightly, but I do. You are my inspiration, because for me, I think you portray the kind of woman that I want to see, going forward in the world, who is not limited by age, who's not limited by societal expectations, and who is willing to continue living in post the work, the formal work that has kind of conditioned us to thinking I'm who I am when I have a title at work, and once the title goes away, I don't know who I am. So I've seen I've seen you break a lot of barriers. I've seen you stretch. You attended, that was the second retreat that I hosted in January. And as usual, we're still one of the, the more mature, like older woman who was there. So what was your experience there? What really brought you to take that step of saying, I want to go out, I want to go elsewhere? And actually you came with your husband, the first that first retreat. Can you maybe just unpack that for the viewers?
Okay. The Renew You retreat, just as the name suggests, I actually went to the retreat because I felt I needed some me time. I needed to renew myself. I needed to take hold of my health. Because one of the things that was said in the information about the retreat was that we will get to improve our health through healthy eating. We'll have to improve our health by learning how to move our bodies. So I really felt that I needed some me time. I needed to improve my health, and I needed to make sure that I get to meet like-minded people who would help me achieve my dreams. Because from the vision, from the Ignite Your Spark, we were more learning about our dreams as to how we can take them forward, so that you can be able to have people who are of the same mind. So that was the reason why I wanted to go there, so that I wanted to understand more about my dream. And the reason why I took my husband with me, like I've said earlier, is that I wanted to experience the same kind of experience that I've had through the coaching. And I also wanted him to sort of have his me time, even though, I mean, his own me time. Even though when we spoke about it, I actually said to him, you are not going to be part of the event. So just tell yourself that you are going to be there, and you are going to be able to, to maybe to get inside with yourself and understand what it is that you wanted to do. So it was really on that aspect that I also wanted him to have his own me time, his own his time, so that he can really get the inner self and take it out for himself.
Okay, all right. And normally at the retreats, participants actually share. So I paired you with someone who was actually younger than you. And what was the reaction on that?
Well, the reaction that I had was, at first I think I felt a little bit uncomfortable sharing with somebody who is possibly as old as my second born. And I felt that it's not right. But then, because I had already gone through the coaching session, uh, from Ignite Your Spark, I felt that there are certain things that hold us back, limitations that doesn't give us the moving forward, and we end up missing certain things. So I warmed up to her, but more than anything else, I think it's her who actually warmed up to me. The fact that she took me at the level at which I was at, without making me feel like I was older than her mother. She just took me as a sister, as an elder sister. And but as time went on, I've actually found that even our conversation, there wasn't any age difference in what we were talking about. So I felt at home, just like even the other people who were there. They were all much younger than me. And I felt that, the conversation that we have, it's almost at the same level.
So really, what we are saying is that age is just a number. It's just a mindset issue that is holding most people really back from becoming, their best and doing what they want to do in life.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, coach. Because at times we think, because you are old, you need to act in a particular way. And I must say that that limitation almost stopped me from going for the coaching, because I used to think, what will people say just to see an old person saying she's going to coaching? People will think, she feels she needs something in life, and that is why now she's trying to catch up. But then, because I had committed myself that, it doesn't matter what people say. What is important is, what do I want myself? What is it that I want to do? Obviously, there were people who had, those negative comments that, at your age, how can you be mixing with such young people? What do you think people would say if they realize that you are mixing with such young people? But I counteracted that by saying, it's me who wants to live this life, and as to where I get help from, and as to where I build relationships with like-minded people, I will follow that route. I am not going to hold myself back and fail to achieve my dream just because I think I have to be the grandmother, or I have to be the old woman that stays home. So that's how I actually broke that through.
Yeah, that is really what I call shattering the norm, because that is how we are really conditioned. That's how our culture has actually molded us to believe that once you get married, you have got to behave a certain way. You start having kids, you behave a certain way. You start getting married, you behave a certain way, and this is what really, really holds women back. And looking back at our great grandparents, our grandparents, you realize that that was actually the pattern. So, like I'm saying, this is our time to now start breaking some of these patterns that maybe they served other people in the past, but they no longer serve us. But what's interesting is to really find out how difficult was that for you. I know you by birth you are from Swaziland. You are in Swati by birth, and I think the culture is also very strong back there in Swaziland. And then being married here in Botswana, by a Kalanga man as well. I think it was just a collusion of two very strong, belief systems. So how are you able to really break through this, and rise beyond, all these societal expectations?
Yes, Coach, it's very true. I come from a very, strong cultural background, where when you get married, you are expected just to be, the wife, the daughter-in-law, the mother, and that's the expectation that you are expected to have. And as well as when I married her, I found that yes, it's a different culture. I think the Kalanga culture, we are also expected to have, to be a wife, to be a mother, to be the daughter-in-law, and because now I was here, it actually became very clear that my in-laws wanted me to fulfill the daughter-in-law role in more ways than one, in the sense that, when something happens at home, we live in Gaborone, but when something happens at home, you are expected to be going home, you are expected to be there, and mostly the part that I really found to be very strong was the aspect that the funerals were expected to go home. And my mother-in-law is one person who really found it very difficult. And there will be funerals that I wouldn't attend, because in those funerals she's expected to be saying, "This is my daughter-in-law. This is what she has to do." But as I started the coaching, in fact, on group culture, as I started the coaching, I realized that I've lived life for other people, because before the coaching, that's what I used to do. I used to run, Masunga, Haboroni, as and when there was a need for me to go there. And going to Masunga is not like you are going to a nearer place, and that meant a lot of money to go home for funerals, even for extended relatives. That my mother-in-law would be saying, "This is the relative that you have got to come for a funeral." And I finally found that, I'm just running around and satisfying her and not satisfying myself. And my culture as well, where I am born, because it's a culture of polygamy, and I have a brother who is polygamous. Then I had to be helping them with their children going to school, and I found that I'm spending so much money on them. And later when I started the coaching and began to understand who I am and what it is that I wanted to do the best value to myself, I then, began to communicate with them very clearly. I spoke to my mother-in-law. I told her, you know, it's it's not okay for me just to be coming for you, because I also have a life. We also have a life in Burundi, and there are things that we want to do, and we cannot be coming home just for funeral. We'll only come home for funerals if it is really close relatives that we have to come. Initially she was a bit uncomfortable, but later she appreciated what I was doing. Even from my place of birth, I spoke to my relatives and I told them that, I have done my part in terms of educating your children. From now on, you have to find a way of educating your own children. And that also helped me in terms of saving some money for my kids now, so that I can do the things that I love. I can visit them when I want to visit them, instead of just giving them money because there's a need for them to have money to take their children to school, or to be able just to be at home for something that was not really adding value.
Yeah, you brought me a very interesting point there. What I'm picking there is boundaries. You eventually, have the courage to set your own personal boundaries. I find that this is one of the biggest challenges that we go through, especially as women, of being able to say no to things that don't matter to us. Being all over, being trying to be everything to everybody, being everywhere, at the same time, where you find someone attending 4 events in a day, going to the bridal shower, going to the baby shower, going to the funeral, going to the wedding, all of those things, just because they can't really stand their ground and realize that I can't be all over there. I can say no to the others and then say yes to the other. So how did that really feel when you started saying no more to other people? How did you overcome that?
Yes, and I must say that Ignite Your Spark. I can't remember which module that one was. I really felt liberated when I was able to set boundaries and be able to say no. I know it was not easy, because it actually even started just from my own house and my own family. That there were certain things that I now was able to say no to. And, finally, initially it becomes, it sort of gives the other person a feeling as if, you are being disobedient, or you are disrespectful. But as you stand your ground and make the other person understand exactly as to what it is that you want, they begin to respect that. And I would also remember that even from, like I'm saying, from my own in-laws, initially it was an issue, like I'm trying to distance myself from them. But I began to set my boundaries and make it very clear to them. They began to appreciate that up to now, my mother-in-law appreciates and understands that, I'm not going. In fact, at times she actually says it, that with you, I know there are certain things that you don't want to do, that she refers. Now, would you be able to do this? And I would say, if it's adding value to me, yes, I'm going to do it, or I'm not going to do it. Then she would say, no, I understand. And similarly with my family at Eswatini, the same thing happened. It happened that I tell them that, yes, we are a family, but we shouldn't be, sucking blood out of each other. We should help each other. So that way, they also understand there are certain things that I can do and there are certain things that I cannot do. And where I think it also helped me a lot is when I was in the board, I used to have, where you have a chair of a board, it happens that at the time when you are supposed to start a meeting, the person is not going to be there. But then wants you to stand in for him and chair the meeting. I used to do that and find that I have actually fed this money because I had not prepared myself that way. So I also did the same thing, even in the boards. I would tell them, I'm willing to help when you want me to help, but there are certain things that I am not going to do. And as I started the Ignite Your Spark, there were meetings that were cancelled because I would get there and I will be told that we are supposed to stand in for the chair, and then I say no. We just have to cancel the meeting. And then, people ended up appreciating and understanding. And also, you perform at a far much level than you used to when you were just, everything to everybody. So that's how setting boundaries actually helped me.
Okay. You are glowing and you look very young. So what's the secret? What are you doing? What are you doing to keep young and glowing and even active? You are so energetic. Can you share with us what is it that you are doing?
One of the things that I mentioned earlier, it's the fact that health. It's one aspect that came out from the vision board, that came out from the Ignite Your Spark. I still remember, that sunflower that we need to fill in and select areas of priority in your life. One of which was, for me, was health. The other one was relationships and others. And over the years, I've actually set up an action plan for my health. One of which is to wake up every morning for 30 minutes and do body movements, do my morning routines. And that also my family has become to, they've come to respect that. They know that my mornings, I do my morning routines before I can come and, begin to discuss matters of the house. So this is exactly what I'm doing. I do my morning routines. I do my body movements. I also then got to the level at which I took my annual medicals very seriously. That I do my medical checkups every year. I do, I'm also conscious of my healthy eating. I select the food that I need to eat because I believe that my health is of paramount importance. And I realized that as I did that, I became more productive both in relationships as well as even in a workplace, because I have a mind that is clear. I clear my mind through journaling. I clear my mind through doing body movements as well as meditations. When I feel that there's some clutter that I have, I do meditations. Uh, I've really become very, active in terms of doing my exercises. And of course, there's also the support group that I have, which is the like-minded ladies, which we share our hashtag done and dusted. So you know that somebody has done and dusted, and you know you can't just be sitting there and say no, I'm old, I can't move my body. And that the actual moving of my body, I can actually say with people that I've actually enjoyed it more than I've ever enjoyed it, in the sense that now I can do it in the comfort of my home. I keep in the comfort of my home. I, you know, do the floor exercises in the comfort of my home. I don't have to leave something and go somewhere. Yes, I could join a gym if I wanted to, but I'm more effective uh, rather than giving excuses in doing it in the comfort of my home.
Wow, that's actually inspiring. Yeah, and I hear them all the time saying that you are giving them a run for their backs when it comes to skipping the rope. So how many skips do you do?
I do 1,000 skips.
Wow. Yeah. I'm not even there. So that's why I'm still doing. I'm not even there. I need to build that consistency of skipping 1,000 times, and I know you can do it. Almost every day, and we can tell by your body the way you have toned. Your body is really well toned, so it shows that there is something that you are actually doing. So what would you say were your are the highlights of your journey, your personal development journey?
The highlights of my personal development journey, coach. It's I will just start with the health that going through the Renew You retreat actually brought to my awareness the taking care of myself holistically, not just one part of my life, but holistically. So that has been a highlight to me, that it has also helped me just to be able to relate with people in a far much better way than I have ever done. So relationships have also been in my life having improved, that I have been able to relate far much better with my family, with my relatives, and also with my grandchildren. Because now when I look at my grandchildren, it's no longer the aspect of saying, no, I want to look after them, but I now want to help them improve their lives. And I remember that one of the events that we held for youth, I actually sent my granddaughter there, so that she can also have a much better life, instead of having the limitations that we tend to bring children into. So that has also helped me. It has also helped me in terms of bringing my son who was having a problem. Now I'm able to be able to help him as well. And those are some of the highlights that I've had from the coaching. And I've also had the highlights of making sure that I have a team of people, like-minded people, that would help me when I not only when there are issues, but even in happier times. Now I know that I have some people that I can talk to at any time when I need to. And I would remember that at some point I was actually having somebody who was trying to cheat me of my money, and I just told that person that you wait until I talk to a bank manager of FNB that I know, because I was saying I don't know much of the banking system of FNB, but I have a bank manager that is going to help me. And when the guy called, then I said, no, I'm already talking to my bank, the friend that I have who is the bank manager. That was the last time that that person tried to call me again, trying to cheat me of my money. So these are some of the, the highlights that I have had. I have a circle of friends who are always there. When I need to talk about something, I don't feel that feeling that what are they going to say. I know I have people who a very strong support system that supports me, and that has given me the joy and happiness of being amongst people that nurture the same relationships. I mean, my relationship in the same way that they would want to be nurtured too.
Wow, that's amazing. One other aspect that I picked that I know you do is you speak. Even though I didn't actually mention it. Thembisile is also a speaker. She is a public speaker. And how did you really evolve to become a public speaker? Can you take us behind that? Because I know that in most formal environments like the banks and everything, people speak, but it's different from what we are doing now.
Mm. Yeah, yes, coach. It has not been easy because when I started speaking, in fact, when I worked for the bank, you had everything prepared for you, flip chart, the speech. Even when I was, in the boards, you have the speech prepared for you, everything else prepared for you. But then, when I started coaching, I remember you saying, for me, you are ready all the time, and there is nothing like you have to prepare for you to speak, and you are all speakers. Then I used to think to myself, yes, maybe if something is prepared for me, I could be a speaker. Uh, but then I also thought to myself, well, after all I have done speaking, it shouldn't be that much difficult. I've done presentations. But then I remember that I think it was Lift Lead, whether it was 2017 or 2018, I can't remember exactly. I got to the event and I looked at the program and I found that I am the one to give closing remarks. And I was saying to myself, how am I even going to do it? I haven't prepared anything. So I tried to Umkhulu and say to Umkhulu, I wouldn't be able to do it. I have not prepared. Yeah, cool and calm manner. She just said, no, coach said, put you in the program. And during break time, I tried I think it should sense that I wanted to say something about it that I wasn't able to. And she commented at a distance. I keep on telling you that you are all speakers. So you have to be prepared all the time to speak. And then it was my time now to get onto the podium to speak. I remember I took the program that was there, and I took a pen with me to stand up. And I think it was more to try and comfort myself, to have something to hold on to, so that I feel like it's something that I'm reading. And from nowhere, Coach Image, as I was starting to say something, and took the paper and took the pen. And I then realized that, I'm left there without a podium. I'm left there with nothing on my hands, and I'm expected to speak. That is how my speaking journey started. I can safely say now I am in the journey of speaking. I am learning. I am not perfect, but I can now, share my story with other people without any fear and without any doubt that I'm sharing it properly. And that is what I'm going through the Speakers Club. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very interesting how we when life happens and we get conditioned, we think we don't know. We discount even the things that we don't know. We spend time trying to over prepare. Every time when you over prepare, it means you don't believe in yourself and you don't have faith. It's okay to prepare, but over preparing, there is a challenge. There is an invisible boundary to over preparing, and that is self belief and lack of faith. So that's one of the things that I help people to move beyond that. So let's go back to the crossroads, because when you came for coaching, you were saying you were at crossroads. So how do you move from that crossroad now, having traveled this journey to where you are right now? Where are you, and where are you now focusing your energy?
When I started the coaching, I was at the crossroads because there were voices in me that were saying, "You are too old. You can't, live your dream. You are, you know, you just now have to be the woman that looks after your grandchildren. You just have to be the person that stays home. You just have to be the person, and finally I found that that is the crossroads which I was at, of feeling that which way should I really, what should I really do? Because within me I feel that there is greater potential, irrespective of the years I have lived, irrespective of the age that I'm at. I felt that I still needed to live my dream. I still needed to fulfill a lot of things in my life, even at that age. So that's why I was at the crossroads. Do I remain, being, having lived that life which I had lived, or do I take a leap of faith and move forward and say, I want to do something different that is going to be fulfilling to me? And the coaching actually was that leap of faith that I took, that I will take this route to follow the coaching so that I can improve my life. And that has actually, I have moved in the journey that I started with coaching, because I am now able to live a life where I know what my calling is, or what my gift is. The gift of empathy is what I have discovered, the aspect of living a fulfilling life by not trying to overtake people. This is the journey that I have started, and the journey that I am on now. It's not yet finished, because coaching is a journey. You can never say I have arrived. You keep on improving, and in fact, uh, coach usually says, every new level of you requires a different dimension. You need to move to a different level. And therefore, I am in that journey where I, I am moving forward beyond where I was in the last year. And I think this is one of the reasons why I keep on going to the Renew You retreat, because I feel that what I was last year, the last time, I cannot be the same person this year. And similarly, the vision board workshops, I tried by all means to attend one vision board workshop every year, because what I was last year, I cannot be what I am this year. So I keep on wanting to improve myself, and this is where the journey of coaching is taking me to.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. That is quite an interesting one. So can you maybe talk more about this gift of empathy and mentoring? Where do you see it going? How do you want to unpack it going forward?
Um, I want to unpack it now. I mentioned earlier that I've been doing the mentoring, even though not on a full fledged scale. But now I want to take it beyond, the small parts. I really now want to fulfill that dream that I have. And the dream that I have, that I want to unpack my mentoring and my empathy gift, is to try and help uh, women who possibly felt that they have had life, and life has happened to them, and that is all that they can now just live just life the way, waiting basically to say there will be a time when they won't be in this world. And I feel it's a very unfortunate state of life if you live like that. So I want to really unpack it, to look at, people maybe who are in sort of a transition. They are looking into retiring, but they feel they are not quite sure what it is, what life is going to be like when they retire. I want to help them to understand that there is actually more to life uh, after retirement, because after retirement, the hustle and bustle of the corporate world or the working environment, it's no longer there. You can actually get deeper into yourself and understand who you are and fulfill the dreams that you have always wanted to fulfill. And in that way, you can maintain better relationship even with your children or even with your relatives. Because at times when you retire, you feel that now you are a burden, you were active, now you are not active. And also on the health aspect, just to bring that awareness to women who are older, who are retiring, who have long retired, and maybe are just now feeling they are just grandmothers. To get to the level of understanding that they do a lot of things on the health side, making sure that they move their body, they eat well, they take care of their medicals, and they will live a lifetime fulfilling life. I know that at times when you are older, there are certain things that you feel a bit embarrassed about in terms of relating with people who are of a younger age. So I want to create that environment that we can be there as mature ladies, fulfilling our dreams and doing the things that we have always wanted to do, that are now embedded, that have been suppressed over the years because we could not do it, and therefore we can actually live a life which is more fulfilling after retirement. We can actually live a life that is fulfilling as you approach your retiring time. You shouldn't have fear that I don't know how I am going to live. So this is how I would like to unpack it. And of course, my aspect which I was mentioning of the challenges of my own family. It's something that probably some of the mature ladies have also lived a life where they have issues like that, where maybe they are facing issues of marriages that are not working well, children that are not what they expected. Because I think as we live life, we have expectations of our families, how they are to turn out life. And I believe that there could be a number of older ladies who can actually resonate with that, that they wanted certain things to turn out in their family in a particular way. It didn't. That doesn't stop you as long as you know that those family members of yours, they have responsibility of their lives. You have a responsibility of your life, and therefore you have to make to fulfill your dreams and your goals. And you'll be surprised that your family, without you putting pressure on them, they then turn out to appreciate who you are and also learn from you. So this is how I want to unpack
Wow.
the gift of empathy.
I'm even more inspired because for me, you are looking at women around 50 plus 50 and more years, and I think this is one service that we actually need, where we find people who are supposed to retire and they hang on to their job, until the last time that they are told go home, your time is up. Not because they don't want to, but because they don't know what they are going to do, when they leave, the 7 to 5, 8 to 5 job. So, but if they could get help to start preparing themselves, for that could really help. And then you also have those after they've retired. It's like, is that they are now just waiting for death to come. They don't really know what to do with their lives. And just as we prepare to wrap this up, what challenges did you actually have to overcome, through this journey? What are some of the challenges that you'd have to overcome that someone who is looking at, working with you in what you want to do would have to overcome?
Really the challenges were more into my own thought process, in that I used to, the limitations that you have, the fear that how, but more than anything else, the fear of what are people going to say, what is going to come out of this coaching, and the limitations of the cultural backgrounds, the limitations of thinking that uh, I am I am now I'm now old. Well, not too old, but I am now old, and some of the things probably I will not be able to do them because my age doesn't allow me to do. So it was more the challenge of me thinking, uh, how is this coaching um, going to turn out as I do it. Of course, maybe I could say it was also just the challenges from my own family, because I remember that when I used to do the morning routines, my husband would be saying, "You are skipping, you will fall, you will break yourself." You will break your leg. And finally, he realized that no, this woman can actually skip. So let me leave her. So it is just that, the challenges of what are people going to be saying. And also, I remember that when I got for the retreat, not so much as my own family, because my husband finally, understood that and appreciated the coaching that I was going through. But other people would say, when I say I'm going for a renewal retreat in China, people will be saying, "You are leaving your family every year. You want to go there and you leave your family." And in fact, I would be saying to them, "This time it's just that Corona has stopped us. I wanted to go to Mozambique." So it's those challenges of what people, want to put you in a box. But the minute you tell yourself that I am committed to see myself through this journey, we will definitely go through it. And I would say, people, obviously, people my age, there's also just the children around you. And I remember that even my own children would be saying, what is so interesting about this Renew You retreat, and the other things that you do. But as you get committed, the people get to understand who you are, and they end up supporting you. Now my children are supporting me. They know that I go for my coaching events. If it's here at home, they have to understand that this is my coaching time. I sit down and I do my coaching call, and everybody else has to appreciate that. And I must also say, just to say, I think it's because at least my husband went for a vision board workshop, which I made it that he should go for it. My son also went for it. So it's not coach is not an unknown uh, coach in this house. They all know her, and they know what she can do. So with those issues, I end up, not having much challenges in terms of my family understanding what I'm doing. And of course, my friends, yes, there are some who doesn't understand. But what they see in me convinces them that something different has actually happened to me. Because even in my office, what my staff now see in me, they are convinced that something has actually happened to me.
Wow. So you are now a better employer and a better leader. So having raised that, how were you able to really integrate this newfound awareness that you had into the workplace, into your organization? For those of you who are listening, Thembi is the founder and CEO of a financial management company that specializes in financial recovery and what do you call it? Purchase order financing. Yes, so those are the two things that her company specializes in. So she actually leads a team of people who help her do this. Hello, Thembi. Okay, it looks like we have lost our guest as we wait for her to actually come back. I have some people here in the studio. Maybe they can just share their insights. What have they learned from this interview with Thembi? So, is anyone ready to just share on that? I can see there is a Tabuya here. Do you have anything to say, Tabuya, while we are waiting for Thembi to come back? Hello, Tabuya, are you there?
Hi, I'm here, Hannah.
Okay, thank you.
So,
welcome to the studio.
Yes. Thank you. I've been listening to the show the entire time. I'm Thembi's daughter. So it has been extremely insightful, particularly because I think generally we don't always appreciate the value of coaching and going through these personal transformation journeys. So I find it very inspiring, firstly, that my mother started this process at the time that she did, and that she, was willing to actually do it, even though, she may have been considered a particular age and so on. But, I also personally have seen a great transformation from her after having gone through the journey. And being a woman myself, and I mean, I'm also, knocking on the doors of 50 and thinking, this is an interesting thing, because I think some of the challenges that we do experience as women, I think it's easy for us to get lost in the giving and whatever process that we go through as mothers and wives and so on, that somewhere along the line we can lose track of who we truly are, what actually means a lot to us, and instead seemingly spend most of our lives just doing for others, which at times is good, but at times can also be a bit difficult, I think, for women in general. So I really enjoyed that piece. And I think from your end, I think there's something that stuck with me and that I'm thinking now, and it was an aha moment to say, a lot of the time, especially as career women and professional women, we also attach so much to, the titles that we have within the context of the corporate world that we work in, that I even don't even have the answer myself, but I'm thinking to myself, there will be that day that I will not be in the position that I am now, and then what, when I'm not doing what I'm doing now in the role that I am now and attaching to this position, what does that then leave me with, and I think that was a real spark for me in terms of just my process to say, it's something that is real, and I think it's a lot more difficult when we are still within the corporate world, working in the roles that we are, that we never really think about that as a reality, when in actual fact it truly is. So I think really overall it's been insightful from my perspective, just to get to understand my mother's journey. It's been very insightful for me as a person to also have thought processes that have been sparked through the listening and being part of this journey, that I think will also help me in terms of my own journey, and maybe the kind of things that I need to explore further as a woman and as a career person.
Thank you so much. Especially, I think, let me thank you for joining in, and being here to support your mom through this process, and for also, being part of the journey, because when your loved one is going through a journey of transformation, she actually transforms everyone, even if she's not forcing them into it, because you see the change and you somehow respond to the change, even if you are not aware about it. I know that your daughter is one of us, is a big fan of the grandma and the new grandma. When everyone said, slow down, you said, you look beautiful, grandma. So, it's that is influence,
Yes.
it's really influencing the other people by how you are actually showing up. And I'm confident that your daughter is just going to grow up as a really, influential person from that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and then adding on to that one about the different hats, that the corporate hat that we wear. I think there's so much, even so much stigma when you lose it, because I quit my job at a very early age. I was a lecturer at UB, and when I quit, I went to Maun to join my husband and start a business. And people kept asking me, "Where do you work?" And I didn't have anywhere to work. And when I said I don't work, people didn't believe it. They kind of thought that if I don't work, I had to look a certain way. But one of the things that I did when I quit my job is to maintain my dignity, to maintain, my health, my well-being, the same way. Like people who knew me when I was about 16 years ago and now, I still look the same. So I maintained that. But people couldn't, I wasn't working for a long period of time. I said, no, I don't work anyway. I just stay at home. And they said, "Really?" So you really see that there is that expectation and that stigma, that goes with it, that if you are not employed, if you are not into the corporate, it means you need to start behaving somehow, or you look shabby, or you'll be struggling. I think that's something that to change, around us, especially around women. And I believe that for Thembi, she's actually a trendsetter, in her age group, that will bring so much positive change, so much mindset shift amongst other women who are her age and slightly younger than her, because it normally starts ticking, the clock starts ticking around 50. Some people say 45, but around 50, when people are supposed to retire, where they retire at 54, 55, that's when this start hitting, that where am I going? What am I going to do? Am I going to the cattle post? Go there because they don't have any plan of where to go. So the cattle is like the default. Looking after kids is like the default. Their parents are there. Why would you be saying you are going to be looking after your grandchildren when their parents are there? So it's just a default that people go. And I'm looking forward to see how, once Thembi starts her business, how it's going to impact, the women, around us, our mothers, our aunts. And I'm really calling forth everyone who is watching, who is here, to go and talk to their parents, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting the way that she shared it with me, and the way that I'm helping her bring it up. So we're going to see, women 50 plus going for retreats, them going out, for tea, going out for lunch, going out for dinner, going out on these trips, just for themselves, just for the fun of it, so that they are also alive, not just going out on a church trip or on a wedding trip, on a funeral trip, which is what now our grandparents and parents are doing. So it's quite an interesting one. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Motwari, are you there? Can I bring you on the studio? Hello, Motwari. Hello, Motwari. Can you troubleshoot and see if Thembi is going to come back? Are you there, Motwari? Okay. Okay. Yes. Over to you.
I had left my phone in the sitting room and I went to the bedroom. So maybe I didn't get the question.
Okay. No. What we are just doing the Q&A. We have lost Thembi. I think it's due to internet connection. So I was just now going back to people who are on the studio, people who are watching. That do you have any insights that you got from the interview? Is there anything that resonated with you that you heard today?
Yeah, I was inspired by a lot of things that I heard from Thembi. And one thing that relates to me is when Thembi was talking about the husband, what he was going through and how he's handling it. I remember when I attended Ignited Start in my own in 17 December, where I broke up in tears when I was referring back to my abusive marriage a long time ago. So I can tell you guys that Ignited Start helped me a lot to heal. That was the greatest of my life when I came back from Chileha to Gaborone. So I had thought all these years I had forgiven and forgotten, but that was a lie until I attended Ignited Spark. I'll stop there because one day I'll have my chance to talk. So I'll spare this for the
Yeah, and that is so true. So that you don't unpack your whole story here. Yes, I know that for those of you who are on the line, Mochari is also one of my inspiration, but I'm not going to talk about her much because she's going to come here on the studio. But she's also she's over 50, over 55. So it's one of those women that I tap into, for inspiration. And I look at my life and say, this is the kind of life that I want to live during the last years of my life. So thank you so much, Mochari, for being vulnerable and sharing on that. Okay, I don't think we're gonna get Thembi back here because I'm getting someone to troubleshoot here. I think she's having a challenge getting back. Okay, she had a power cut, so that's why we lost her. So we're not gonna have her back on the studio, but I think she really covered most of what she wanted to cover. And just in closing, one of the messages that I know she wanted to touch on is just to say that you are not over when you retire formally. There is more to life post retirement, and she's speaking that, looking at how some people think that when they retire now, they are just waiting for the last days for death to come. But when you start looking into who you are at core, what it is that you truly want, and you pursue it, you realize that you live even more, much longer, post retirement than you would have been. And especially if you start really taking care of your health and not limiting yourself by thinking, I am too old, I can't do some of these things. And she has really broken a lot of barriers. One of the barriers is technology. I started coaching virtually in 2016, and she joined in 2017, and I plugged them into Zoom right away, actually into Facebook. So we opened her first Facebook page, and he was, no, I don't know. I said, there's nothing complicated about it, so my team will help you do that. So they opened a Facebook account for her. And then when we went virtual via Zoom in 2017, she was on to Zoom. We went into, now we are using StreamYard. So she's really has evolved throughout this, using email, using all the different platforms that we have actually been using. So she has really broken so many barriers and has shifted a lot of mindset for people. I can't wait to see what she is going to do out there with the remaining years that she has. So be on the lookout for what she's going to do next, and make sure that your parents, your mothers, your aunts, your grannies are there to revive and renew themselves so that they can make use of the remaining years of their lives. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today on this live show. I look forward to connecting with you more on the other shows, and comment and share your insights below this video. Thembi will come and respond to them. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great weekend. Oh, I forgot there was someone here on the studio that I forgot to bring in. Umukulu, are you there? Okay. All right, let me just end it. I think it is going to